Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Easy Graphic Design for Faculty. I'm Meoli-Ferrigon, for those of you who we haven't spoken yet. I work in the Office of Online Learning, and I have a background in digital media production, as well as teaching. So I thought this would be a good tutorial for other professors to be able to take graphic design and images and be able to put them into their course in an easy way. We don't want to completely redo your course because that's a lot to do. But what I'm hoping is that you can take little tips away from this and be able to implement them either right now in the semester or as the next semester approaches. So students have a lot to read. They're mostly reading textbooks. And I know for myself, I respond very viscerally to imagery. Imagery adds emotions and it adds another layer of meaning to your content. And so we're not saying you have to replace your textbook with images, but just supplement the content that you're putting in your course with some images so that you can add another layer of understanding, maybe another mood to your content. You can add some fun to it. And things that we'll talk about today is maybe part of your discussion prompt, part of your assessment, or even as simple as just having a banner image for each, either for your course or for each weekly content folder. So for those who are more visually focused like me, an image can aid with memory and recall. So students might be able to remember a topic more easily if there's an image attached to it. So where you want information to stand out and be remembered, that's where you should add an image. You don't have to add an image to every single thing that you have in Blackboard. You can get images from any of the free image websites or just use Google. And on our SPH Learn website, which the website is right down here, you can see a list that I just put up in one of our recent blogs of some really great free websites. You can go there, download them for free. They're all copyright protected. You're welcome to use them in your course. When you're using an image, as long as it's not for advertising or monetization on your part, you're welcome to use a Google image. Sometimes you'll see like a watermark on it. It might say like Shutterstock or something over the picture. That can make your image look lower quality, or it might be very small if you're getting it from Google. So these links that I shared on our blog do not have watermarks. They're high quality images that you're welcome to use in your course for free. The biggest tip I can give you is to start by choosing a consistent and relevant visual theme and incorporate it throughout. So if you look at this presentation, for example, we have these light bulbs. I did not draw this presentation by any means. I'm not an artist in terms of illustration. I grabbed this template from another website, which I'll show you in a few minutes. But the theme of this is, to give you ideas, to spark some fresh ideas for you in your course. So I went with light bulbs because it's kind of like a representation of that very simple, interpretation of the content. And you don't have to make it super complicated either. If there's a style or a visual theme that you want to go with for your course, if it's relevant to the topic, then definitely go with it. It definitely helps your students be able to get another layer of, you're hinting at that subject matter. So you want the images to reinforce the ideas and not distract from them. And in terms of being consistent, if you're going to do like a weekly banner image for your content folder, have it consistent in each one. So make one for each week. Don't just have it in week 1 and then in week 4 and week 5. Like, make the students know that when they go in there, they're going to see the same thing. It's kind of like the same way that you're designing your course. You're making it kind of a template each week. You're making it something that students can come and say, okay, I know what I have to do each week. So you're doing that also with images. You're giving them a hint to how to navigate. When you're picking a theme, your imagery should remind learners of the content topic and reinforce ideas. So as I was saying with the light bulbs, we're reinforcing literally ideas here. But, you guys are all teaching public health. I'm sure there are plenty of types of images that you can choose that will reinforce the ideas of the content. So your imagery should remind them of that topic. The fonts and colors, like if you look at this presentation, for example, I'm using blue and white and some black here and there. The school has a consistent theme, which is the blue and the turquoise colors. You're welcome to use that. I try to stick to in the blue family when I do stuff for SPH, and it's a good idea to do that as well. They have definitely a font, which is a text style, and they have certain colors that they use for branding of the school. If you're doing something just for your course, you can navigate away from that a little bit, the way I did in this presentation. So we have consistent blue, there's some yellow in it as like a secondary color. But you want to make sure you're using only one or two main textiles and colors. You don't want to have too much going on where it's crazy and people are not seeing it as a consistent theme, unless you're doing something with like a rainbow kind of thing. Maybe you're doing an LGBTQ and you want to use the rainbow flag, and so you have a rainbow going on, but still you're going to have a main color. So keep it consistent to your LMS. Most of our, LMS meaning Learning Management System, being Blackboard. In Blackboard, most of the courses already start out with that light blue sidebar. So making it blue, putting some blue in there doesn't hurt. It kind of keeps everything similar. And you see I have two main text styles here. I have the heading, which you see the words theme in, and that's all caps. It's kind of like a handwriting. It goes along with the illustrations of the light bulbs. But when I'm trying to write out a full sentence, I'm not going to have it in that kind of handwriting, all caps, because it's harder to read. So always have like a very simple body of your text font that you're going to use. Like this is probably Arial or something easy to read when you're putting in long sentences. And look and feel, finally. The imagery style, the image size, the mood, and keep it consistent. Here we have imagery style is kind of illustration, cartoons. We're using some pictures of students here and there, some real images. If you're doing banner images, for example, you want to keep those pictures consistent, maybe all cartoons, maybe all natural images, all outdoors, however you want to do it, but keep it consistent. And image size. So if you have a banner in 1 week that's giant and then it's small in the next one, that's not really consistent. So just something to look out for. My other tip is to have some fun. You can use images, charts, GIFs, and memes in your course, if and when appropriate, to spark conversation. So if I was teaching an advertising course and I was teaching students how to make social media content, how to make GIFs, we might have a discussion on how do you pronounce it. Like I might start the discussion board forum with this image here and then put in my question. Like you still want to make sure you're putting in your thoughtful discussion prompt, but you can use some images to kind of get the students excited, get them, to be a little more casual and fun in your discussions. And you might also want to encourage your students to use images as part of their discussion board forum responses. So they might pick an image that they can use. And if you encourage that, they will do it. I can attest to that for sure. So you do not need expensive graphic design software to incorporate images into your course. These are 3 of my favorite free tools out there. Canva, Infogram, and Jiffy are all free. Canva, which I'll show you at the end, you can use it to design banners, images, charts. It has free images. You just make your account for free. You might want to link it to your Google or however you want to log in. Just make your free account. And once you make that account, everything you create will be saved there. So you can go back and edit it. So for example, if you put the name of the course in it and then the name of the course changes next semester, you want to save it somewhere that you can go back and make the edit to that name. So you don't have to create it from scratch. So it has a lot of really cool stuff in it, and really great features. And a lot of the templates, you can take them the way they are and just put your text in. They have a lot of pre-made things. This is Canva. You can go into here. So I already created these. These are my weekly banners for a course I was teaching. This is text. I picked a font that they already had. And then I pretty much took that same font style and I just made a duplicate. So the really cool thing about this is once you choose a size for your image, you can just duplicate the page and then you can change out this picture. So if I want to go back to images, so they have all this cool stuff in here. So say I want this to be your background. Oops. 1 second. Say I want to swap the background out. You can just easily do that. And you can, then we have a problem with contrast here. It's kind of hard to see the red, so I might make this a different color. So that's my new banner. I don't want to take this away. That's my week 2 banner, for example. And what I did is I have each week has its own banner. So I would just go in, put the name of the week in it, and then change the image based on whatever the topic is. So multimedia storytelling, we have this kind of imagery. Again, the imagery is reminding students of what the content is. Journalism, photojournalism, photo editing, things like that. And the great thing about Canva that I really like is when you do everything in one project like this and you just keep duplicating, when you download it, you get a whole folder of these and they're all the same size. So you don't have to worry about, does the first image match the second image in terms of size? Infogram. It is a website where you can design interactive charts, graphs, maps, etc. You can also make a free account and keep your data fresh. I use Infogram to, when you make your course and you have the grading schema of how much each thing is worth in the course. So maybe discussion boards are worth 20%. I would usually make like a pie chart and then have that so students can click on it. You can do a lot of cool things with Infogram. You just have to embed it into the course as a embed link. And I'll show you an example of that. So we grab this embed. If you want to share it, you can obviously just put the link there and let students click on it. But if you want it to show up there in the course, you want to grab the embed link. So I copied it. I'm in Blackboard. So I'm going to build content item. That's 2. And you just use this source code. It's like 2 little brackets. Type it in here. It looks like a bunch of jumbles, but you hit save and submit. And then it's there at the bottom. So students can interact with it. And they can download the data too. Infogram has a lot of cool accessibility features. So obviously a screen reader is not going to be able to see this as well as we can, but if you download it, it gives you it as kind of like an Excel spreadsheet. And Jiffy, finally, it's where I got that last picture. They have everything is free there. The pre-made GIFs, short looping animations, and you can add them in your course wherever you like. Wherever you can add an image, you can add a GIF. Just use that file instead of the JPEG. So those are 3 really easy, free technologies that you guys can use in your course. An important thing is do not forget accessibility. Any flat image, and when I say flat image, I mean, for example, we're looking at the banner image of the weekly content. It has the name of the week in it. That text is part of the image, meaning students with a screen reader can't actually read what's in the picture. So you want to always put whatever text is in the photo into Blackboard as regular text as well. Or you can use a alt text to describe it. It's right here under image options. So where you would put a description, you can put that description there if you want, or you can just write whatever's in the image. So I had already put digital storytelling as the title, so it's going to show up above the image, but what is not going to show up is the name. So I put the name in alt text. And you see here, this is the description, this is the title, and alt text we can't see, but screen readers can see it. Another thing to understand and to know about alt text is if it's a decorative image, you do not actually need to describe it. You can just write decorative in the alt text. So for example, in this slide, we have the planet and the rocket. They have nothing really to do with this at all. I did it as an example to show you that it's just really a decorative placeholder. So you do not need to write a whole bunch of stuff. If this was an image, I would write the text. Don't forget accessibility, and I'd write that out as the alt text. I would not write image of a rocket because it's not really relevant. And a way to do accessibility for your YouTube videos, because I know a lot of you are really good at taking your PowerPoint and recording it so that you have it as a YouTube lecture. Use those captions. They might call them subtitles in YouTube. You want to describe the images on your slides if it's not implied in the narration, or even better, if you can just describe what is on the screen in your slide. If you're using a picture, that is a great tool for accessibility. So here are 3 things that you can try. It could be immediately, could be next semester, or whenever you have a chance. You can try adding banners to your weekly content. You can try adding images to discussion board prompts. You can try using images or design as assessment, meaning you might want to ask your students to choose a GIF that or a picture to answer your discussion board prompt, as well as, however many characters of text you want them to put in. Or you might ask them to design a picture using Canva or another free tool. You do not have to be limited to just text as your assessment. And another thing you can do is refresh your PowerPoint slides. Speaking of PowerPoint, because it is the most popular way to incorporate imagery into your course, you want to definitely keep the amount of text on the screen very minimal, because people are looking at the screen while they're listening to you. So if they're reading, they're not listening. You probably didn't hear as much of what I just said because you're reading what's on the screen here. So it's I did it to kind of demonstrate that, but also to give you these important links. There is the CUNY PowerPoint or the SPH PowerPoint template available at this link, but you don't have to be limited to using just the SPH PowerPoint template. If you're doing a class video just within your course, you can absolutely stray from that template. This, for example, I pulled from slidescarnival.com. I just replaced some of the images. I changed the color of the text here and there, and I just rearranged everything however I wanted it to go. You want to definitely use the tips that we've been going over in terms of starting with a visual theme and building from there. On a slide, you want to be able to narrate and say what you're going to say without students having to read a paragraph. Like, you want to kind of stick to bullet points instead of long sentences, and definitely not a paragraph of text on a slide. Make the PowerPoint, look at it on your phone, because some students will be joining from a mobile device. But if you can't read it on your phone, then it's too small. And most of the templates will have everything already kind of sized out for you. It'll have a heading and it'll have the body of the text, with the bullet point sizes. So if you stick to what's there, it's usually pretty good, especially if you use Slides Carnival. A quick tip for PowerPoint is to go widescreen. I'm sure you've seen a lot of PowerPoints, maybe Zoom presentations, YouTube videos where you have those black bars on the side. To avoid that, you want to choose the 16:9 or widescreen template version. Those are in the PowerPoint settings or when you download the template. It also works for in-person presentations, because when you're Usually at a event and you have like a big screen, it's usually a widescreen. So you really get to use the full space. So going beyond PowerPoint, you might already be creating YouTube videos for your slides, and that is excellent. So you can try these next level tools. Prezi.com, it has self-paced presentations. You can embed videos. It's free. These are all free. I'm not giving anything that's going to require you to spend any money. You can embed videos into the Prezi. So maybe one page has a video on it. So it's for like bigger ideas. And I can show you an example. Okay, this is a Prezi. So when you hit the arrow bar, this is how it works for students pretty much. Anyone who's looking at it should go into information about that person. So you can design it any way you want.
His career certainly evolved over time, and he dealt
and you can put narration on it. You can go into things. I think I had, oops, I think I had a video in there at one point.
Bruno's career certainly evolved.
You can zoom into things. It's much more interactive and self-paced than a PowerPoint presentation. Students don't have to watch you narrate each one. They can go at their own pace. Like once they read this, they can hit the next and they can go from slide to slide.
And other theorists have their own ideas about speech.
VoiceThread is the other one. You can narrate your slides and let students respond in text, video, voice, or otherwise. It's a great way to do discussion boards that are not graded, and great way to let people hear each other. If you're doing maybe an asynchronous course where you're not going to be able to meet for a couple weeks and you want people to kind of have more of an informal conversation back and forth. And if you see on the side, this is one that is already participated in. So this is where I gave narration. If you click on it, this is what students will see.
Welcome to VoiceThread. You can upload your YouTube link using the text.
Probably can't hear this that well.
That is right over here. So you would put it in as a text.
But I wanted to show you that you can draw on the screen as you're talking. So you're giving narration, but you're also, circling things as if you're doing like a play-by-play sports announcer thing. It's very fun. You can pretty much take your PowerPoint slides and put them directly into VoiceThread. And then students are able to come in here and choose one of these options so that they can respond however they feel comfortable. Edpuzzle is a nice tool. You already mostly have some good YouTube videos. So you take that YouTube video and you put it into Edpuzzle, and then you can add knowledge check questions in certain points. So you can tell it where you want it to stop, add like a break. Maybe you want students to reflect on something. Maybe you want them to answer a quick question. And then you can just take that Edpuzzle link and embed it into Blackboard. And it's free for educators. This is a video.
In this video, we're going to talk about function
that another teacher did. I think it's for math.
This shift
pretty sure.
Is 4 units to
so they have their lecture that is already a YouTube video. And then at this point in the video, they give it a knowledge check question. So students will see adding the input causes the shift to and then they pick something and they submit it. This does not integrate with Blackboard in terms of grades, but it's great for knowledge check, and it's great to give your students a chance to kind of digest, especially if you have longer videos. That's all I got. You can find this presentation and upcoming faculty development sessions and tutorials on our website, sph.cuny.edu/sph-learn. We have lots of blogs there, tutorials, and I'll be putting this there as well. So if you look on our schedule page, you'll see a survey where you can suggest topics for the next tutorial. So if there's something that you're really interested in, you can either choose from the options or you can put in your own suggestion. And if you need help with anything, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you for joining. Have a good week.